Hi there, everybody. So this video is going to show some different ways to sketch some things, some ways to sketch out some ideas, and then I'm going to actually go through my own examples. As usual, I'll probably give one example and then I'll keep going, but I'll say I'm done with that so that if you feel comfortable at that point and you want to just go on, start working on your own, you can. But if you want to stick around and watch a couple more examples, you can. I don't know how long they'll go, so I don't know how many examples I'll do yet, but we'll find out. I've already kind of pre-thought out some of these ideas to make it easier for me to show you guys. But we're working on the toy block design. These are my specifications, which are in another video that you can watch how I wrote these down and how I thought them through. But my goal is I'm going to try to make three different pieces. I'm going to try to make them interlock. I'm going to try to make them out of, well, I'm going to suggest that I make them out of plastic. We're not making them right now. We're just drawing them. And they're going to be about 3 by 3 by 1. So I sort of sketched that out. So just the general shape that I'm going to work within is about 3 inches wide, 3 inches deep, 1 inch tall. So something like this, and this is real quick and dirty, not necessarily even proportionally perfect or anything like that, but that's okay. That's all we're going for, is just kind of getting our ideas down on paper. What you have to remember, if I gave you this and I said, hey, draw this on a piece of green paper precisely with technical drawing tools, you could do it because you guys would be able to do the front view and the top view and the right side view. And you have your measurements, you could measure the lines and you could make it look beautiful. I know you all can do that because we just did it for half the year. So the goal is to get your idea into a format like this that you could work from and not worry about any of the technical drawing, not worry about how it's going to fit on the piece of paper, how big you're going to make it, where you're going to put the dimensions. You don't worry about that now. Just worry about the idea. And if you're worried and you're saying, oh, I don't know how to draw shapes, I don't care. Try it anyways, because by drawing and just attempting to put marks on a piece of paper, you're going to learn things. Okay. You don't learn to ride a bike by worrying about how you can't ride a bike. You learn to ride a bike by getting on a bike and falling a bunch of times. So it's totally fine. If you're going to ride this bike here and then, wow, I've never drawn a bike before. Actually, honestly, I've never drawn a bike before. You're going to ride the bike here. Here's your little person. You're sitting on this bike. You're trying to pedal. And you're gonna, fall over a couple times and you're going to fall on the ground and you're going to be sad. And it's not necessarily going to be great, but then you're going to get back up and you're going to try it again until you are happy doing it. So that's just kind of like how these things go. So it doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the point of sketching and coming up with ideas. So like I said, I've got my kind of specs figured out already. I probably did this yesterday and, I got to sleep on them and now I'm here and I'm working on this part. Like I said, I'm going to do interlocking, but right now I'm going to show you guys just some other possible thoughts just for everybody's sake. So whether you think you're going to stack, interlock, align, something else, how could you come up with ideas? The best way to come up with ideas, in my opinion, is to just doodle things. So say to yourself, well, all right, what does interlocking mean? Well, if I was looking down on like puzzle pieces, maybe those puzzle pieces, they're usually shaped something like this. And then you have another puzzle piece over here that's not quite touching it. And those two are interlocking. If I put them together, they're not necessarily going to come apart. So we already know how to do isometric and oblique drawing and all that stuff. Remember the 45 degrees? You can totally take that approach for your sketching and say, where would the lines go? Where would everything be on this so I can make this into something that makes a little more sense? And now look at that. Suddenly, you've got yourself kind of an oblique view of these shapes here. And it's going to be able to, communicate what you need for yourself to be able to then go on here and throw some dimensions. Say, well, maybe this is 1 inch and then this is a 1/2 inch or something like that. So the sketches can take any shape or form that you want. Like I said, so this was interlocking, and this is going to be a route that I'm going to go later in the video. But if you think to yourself, well, what are some other, styles? Maybe we're going to have some kind of like stacking style. Can I adjust this? There we go. This is a new camera, so we'll see how this goes. Maybe you're going to have a block like this. And this, again, this is now I'm drawing more kind of isometric. And again, I'm not getting out the triangles. I'm just eyeballing, So, wow, I have a cube. Great. What if on top of that, I was going to have a little indentation like this? Okay. And then I was going to have another block. Let's see if I can do this. Now I'm switching to a little perspective. And again, you don't have to be like nice like this. I've done this a bunch of times, so I know what things look like and what I want them to look like. But let's say now I'm going to have a sticky outy part on this. It's going to be about that shape. I'm going to have the edges sticking out like this, connect them. And you sort of do like a wireframe example like this, where it's like wire like edges. And then you can erase a little bit if you're working in pencil. I strongly suggest working in pencil. And look at that, that could fit right into there. So that might be a type of block design. And now you have 2 out of your 3 blocks that you're going to do, 2 out of 3. And you could even throw some dimensions on here. Maybe this is going to be 3 inches. So this one's going away from my style here, because like I said, I'm trying to just show you guys 3 by 3 that way by 3 this way. And then you'd have to figure out how deep that is. But I'll go into details like that later on. You know, how far does this go down and things like that. And at a certain point, you're just going to pick numbers. And then later when you draw it, you're going to see if it works. And if it doesn't work when you draw it, because you go to measure it and you're like, wow, I chose 2 inches for the depth of this, and it's actually like going way down inside of this object, then you'll change the number later. So don't overthink it now. Keep it simple, people. Maybe we were going for more of an alignment type thing. Like I think I mentioned in the other video, like tangrams had different shapes. Maybe you just have triangles, squares, other types of triangles, or maybe, and these all have thickness, and a kid is going to just be able to set them on a table and slide them around. So again, I'm doing a sort of oblique type drawing here where I'm just going off 45 degrees for the depth. A kid could slide them around and move them different places and put the edges up against each other. And maybe all these edges are the same, like this distance is the same as this distance is the same as this distance, so that they'll all be able to line up and create different shapes using those 3 basic shapes. Maybe you start with a square that is a specific size and you chop it up into different shapes. This is like how those tangram blocks work that you might have had in elementary school or something like this. And maybe this is a trapezoid, and that's another trapezoid, but it's slightly different. And then this is broken up into, well, they always have like a parallelogram. Why can't I draw? There we go. And then there's like another trapezoid, and then these are your blocks. And maybe you don't want to go that complicated. And of course, these will all have thickness, just like I keep saying here. So there'll be a line there for that edge. And these are some sketches that you can then throw some little fake, not fake, they're real dimensions, but little dimensions on. Say this one's a 1/2 inch, and then this is like, wow, that's a lot of inches. That's probably proportionally here, that's like 6 inches maybe. So this one's maybe a little big for what I was going for. But again, I'm showing you guys different examples. And so you see here, now I have a bunch of ideas. I don't know which one I like. I do know in my head that I'm going to go this route. But this was just the first kind of experimental phase. So you can just play around a little bit. And this would be perfect to take a picture and upload into, the slideshow where this is located. So take a picture, upload it, or do that thing where you hold it up. I'm holding it up to the camera on my computer to get it right into the PowerPoint slide or the Google slide, and do the insert picture option. I'm working on regular computer paper. I've just got a big stack of it on a clipboard I found that has this fun little "no hamburgers allowed" sticker on it. I bought this at a garage sale or something. So all right. But enough of the sort of soul finding, looking for different ways to sketch different things. Now I'm going to actually sketch out the idea that I had. So going with this style of block, what I was really thinking for myself, and I'm just going to do some quick little sketches up here in the corner. So there's like the top of the object, like this, something like that. If I were to have little cut out parts of this that were shaped something like this. So it's really just rectangles and circles. Rectangle, right? And then a circle. And like I said, I can come back and erase lines later. And this is not perfect. I'm just doodling to get the idea out. We'll get rid of some of these little edges there. Can we get in closer? Something, hey, there we go. Something like that. Look at that. And then I could, like, this is going to be missing, right? Because if this is a chunk missing out of that, I'd see an edge coming down there. And you can just sort of fill in, do what you can to get a shape to exist on the page so that you and I can both know what you're talking about. Something like that. Don't worry about any artistic talent. You can even tell mine is not, not something gorgeous here. And you might say, oh, but it's so much better than I can do. Well, keep trying and you will eventually get better. Okay, so it's going to be shaped something like that. I don't know how big anything is yet. I'm just trying to get the idea out. Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. There's edges at all these different places. And ask me for help if you need anything. And now let's start thinking, well, I would want to do probably a top view of this and a front view or something like that, because we know that we have to have at least two views according to the assignment here. So I'm gonna start with the top view because that's probably the easiest. And I'm just gonna do it like I just did up there. I'm gonna start with a basic shape. Don't worry about lines being straight. They don't have to be perfectly straight. You don't have to get a straight edge out. It takes too much time. And then I said we basically have like rectangle shapes here where these little cuts are coming in. I'm not even going to complete the rectangles here. And I know that like this and this line up. So I'm going to try to get them to line up. This lines up with that because I want this to be even. Because eventually I'm going to have puzzle pieces that fit inside here. So, and then there's going to be circles. So I'm just going to eyeball some circle in here. And we'll figure out now, though, where the centers of those circles are. I think this should be a little narrower. This is why it's good to work in pencil. And don't just keep erasing and drawing and erasing and drawing. Do one idea, and if you don't like it, do something else. Finish one thing at a time, okay? So if I were to find the centers of these circles, well, this circle center is there, and I know that it's going to line up with this circle center, right? Because I want everything to be aligned. And then the same thing's probably going to happen here. So these two are aligned. So these are center marks. And the reality is this whole thing should really meet up in the center of this entire object for everything to be centered. And if you think geometrically, and I can even make that like a center mark for that object, so there's a little crosshair there. If you think geometrically, that's going to mean that you can just set the overall size and you don't even necessarily have to dimension to the middle when we start throwing some dimensions on here in a second, because you're going to be able to just know, if I know my overall size of this is 3 inches, and this way it's 3 inches, then I can just say, all right, this was a center line. I don't even have to write a dimension to that. It's just indicated with the dashes that it's a center line. Let me darken these so you guys can see them better. And then you could come back, darken the lines you're going to keep. So I'm going to keep all these parts of the circle, not the whole circle. And then we'll figure out sizes of everything later. Yeah, something like that. Beautiful. Okay, looking better. Okay, so 3 by 3. And if, well, like I said, if this is 3 to 3 here, and this is half of that, then if I really did want a dimension, I could put 1.5, right? Or 1.5, write it however you want, 1.5. And that might not hurt. That would communicate really well. That's definitely the center. But let's see, let's figure some other things out. So like, I really want to know, you know, how far is it, like, let's say from here, this edge right here, this bottom edge to the center of this circle. Okay, well, if a third of this from here to here, if that's about, you know, if this is 3 inches and this is 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, from here to here, that looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch. So I'll put 3/4 in there, and we'll make this 1.5 just so it's consistent. I'll try to use the same fractions for everything because it makes things a little easier anyways, 1.5. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch to there. All right, that feels pretty good. And that is going to mean that it's really 3/4 of an inch everywhere. So you could mark that all over this, or sometimes you can put a note you can just put like TYP, and that means that for all those spots where you're seeing this 3/4 of an inch where it looks like that, it's going to be the same. So that can be a little bit of a time saver sometimes. So it's 3/4 of an inch to there. How about this opening? Well, if I said I broke this into 3 parts, it looks like this opening right here is about half of that distance from here to here, because there's the same amount from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. So like this is broken into 4 pieces. So this could probably be a half of an inch from here to here. So we could put 1/2 in there and add some little dimension lines. All right. So I have the distance from here to here. I have the width of all these openings, and this would be another typical thing because it's here, here, here. It's going to be the same. Instead of writing it 4 times, let's just do it once. And this was kind of bad. I'm doing these over on top of each other. So you maybe would want to do this 1/2 inch like over here instead. But that's stuff we can figure out later when we're putting it on green paper. But I'll do it right now. And then the last thing we probably need is we need to know how big these circles are. They're not really circles, they're arcs, so we should do a radius, but I'm still going to think in terms of a circle. So if we know that this is a 1/2 inch from here to here, the diameter of this circle, the distance across it, is definitely bigger than a 1/2 of an inch. But it looks like it's not quite an inch either, if I said this was an inch to here. So maybe a little bigger than a 1/2 inch. Let's say it's 3/4 of an inch. So we can go and put a little leader like we know how to do and say the diameter is 3/4 of an inch for that circle. And we would want to know the radius is 1/2 of that. Remember, to cut a fraction in half, you can just double the bottom. So 3/8 of an inch for the radius. So when we're setting our pencil compass and we find this point using this dimension, we can set it to 3/8 of an inch. And now we pretty much have one of our puzzle pieces dimensioned. We would probably want to do a front view. We can just project down. There's like the floor or the table that the piece is sitting on. Here's the top of it. I said I wanted it to be 1 inch tall. So let's go from here to here is 1. There we go. And I'd want some of these other lines, like we see an object line would come down about here. And this is hidden behind the front edge. So we'd probably see here and here, we'd see some hidden lines. So let's add those in. And we'd also probably see some hidden lines going on up here. This one, well, it's going to kind of be like underneath this edge, so we'll leave that alone. But we definitely see like a hidden line right here. So we could put that in for that part and that in for that side. So those edges is this point and this point is these hidden lines right there. And there is our top and our front view, or an elevation, and a plan, like if you're thinking in terms of like a house. And that is our first block, and we've got some dimensions on it. We tried to stay geometrical, so we didn't have to worry about too much, just kind of the centers of the circles and the openings, the size of the openings and the overall size. And now we're all set. And of course, this is a super complex example. If you were doing something simpler, like when I was talking about just these simple shapes up here, maybe this would be an inscribed triangle or something like that, where all these distances here were just 30 degrees or something like that. You could keep things real simple and real straightforward and move along from there. So at this point, if you understand what's going on, the video is going on like 20 minutes now. So, you might not have needed this at all, but if this helped you, I hope so. I'm going to actually go on and do like some of the other pieces, like the ones that might fit into these pieces. So actually coming back to this, I just did kind of like this piece because I did the one that has the hole. I'm going to go and I'm going to do one of these ones that has an opening now. So, or a sticky outy part. So you can keep watching if you want to see that, or you can go give this a shot on your own. So, or maybe go try this and then come back and watch the rest of this, when you're ready for it. So, but I'm going to do that on this part of the paper over here. So, all right. So to get started on that, I'm going to steal a lot of the same dimensions that I had on this side. I'm going to reuse them over here. So in fact, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to make this the same general height. I'm going to say, well, okay, here is my general shape for this one with the sticky outy stuff. Let me slide this out so I have a little more room. But now I know I want to have a thing sticking out on all four sides, just like this. And again, this will be lined up to that. This will be lined up to that. This will be lined up to this. This will be lined up to this. And everything's really centered. So we're going to really, have it centered here in the middle. It's not perfect because it's just a sketch. But I know what it means because I'm using the right lines. And I know this is a little light. I'll darken them in a minute. And then I'm also going to have circles again, right? But now the circles are just in a different place. And then you can start thinking, well, how can I make sure that this is going to fit into that? Well, if this was, what did we say, 3/4 of an inch in from the edge? So I'll work on this one down here so it matches up. Or yeah, the top one actually. So you could pick this piece up and set it down in there. So if this is 3/4 of an inch up, it stands to reason that I should make this to the center of this circle 3/4 of an inch as well. And then those two circles will be aligned with each other. Okay. And we also know that the overall size of this one is going to be 3, and the overall width, so that was the depth, the overall width is going to be 3, and then I'll draw the front view last. So let's actually darken these now so it's a little easier to work with. So I'm going to have this, I'm going to have a sort of circle-y shape, this over here, this circle-y shape, this, boom, boom, circle-y shape. It's just about the idea, not about perfection. Circle-y shape. Cool. Centers in all these circles, they're lining up across, lining up, this one with this one at the top and the bottom. Neat. Okay, so we said that was 3/4 of an inch up from the base of this, so that when I pick this up and I set it down on here, the two edges will bump into each other, but the circle centers will be lined up. And then I also know that this circle needs to be a little smaller. And in my haste, I made it a little wiggly, and it looks like it's actually bigger than that, but we're going to dimension it differently. So if I want this to be slightly smaller than that, we made this one 3/4 of an inch all the way across. Let's take like 1/16 of an inch off of that. So we're, oops, I wrote this up here, minus 1/16 of an inch. So if we had 3/4 of an inch, that turns into, if you think about it, if you multiply the bottom and top by 16, by 4 rather, to get 16, that's going to give you 16 on the bottom, and on the top, we're going to have 12/16. So we're subtracting 1/16, that's 11/16. So that is going to be our diameter is 11/16 for this one. And that means our radius is now 11/32 because we multiply the bottom by 2. So bam, that's done, that's figured out. And we would also want these openings so the edges don't scrape with each other. If we originally made this opening 1/2 of an inch, we'd want to make it about 1/16 of an inch smaller. So again, doing our math up here in the math corner, 1/2 of an inch is equal to, what's half of 16? 8/16 of an inch. So we're going to subtract 1/16, that leaves us 7/16. Oh man, I'm writing it all up where you guys can't see it. So 1/2 inch equals 8/16. 8/16 minus 1/16 is 7/16. So that means that our opening here, from here to here, or our part that's sticking out, so from here to here, should be 7/16. 7/16. Everything else is centered. I don't think I had to figure anything else out. I said that this is 3/4 of an inch, so the centers are aligned. Yep. And then we could just do our front view down here. So I know this is, oh, there we go. Now you can see everything. So project downward, downward. We know we're going to see this part coming down and this part on the side coming down. We would see this little corner right here, this corner right here. And these are going to be some hidden lines for us, but I'll bring them down anyways. So this is the surface that we're sitting on. Ooh, they're really close. I drew my views too close, but I'm getting sloppy because I'm getting fast. So this goes to here. This goes to here. This is an object line because they're actual visible edges or visible lines. But these two, oh, we need the outsides of the circle. These two are object lines, but then these two are hidden lines because they're hidden behind the edges of the circle. I guess I drew my line off a little bit. And that is going to be our second piece. So again, we have the top or the plan and the front elevation. And we're missing one dimension from the front view. It's the actual height is still going to be 1 inch from bottom to top. So there you have it. So there you have two pieces, and I could keep going. I actually have a lot of this figured out already because I wanted to make sure that it was crisp and clean for you guys when I showed you. And this would be the last piece would be, maybe you have some where some are sticking out and some are going in. And you could even keep going probably and create a couple more pieces, one that had like 3 things sticking out and 1 thing going in, and another that had 1 thing sticking out and 3 things going in. And then you might get up to 5 pieces, but we didn't want to go that far. So I kept it simple and easy, and this is where we're at. So again, I know the video got long. If you watch the whole thing, good for you. You're probably going to get the most out of this project. But remember, keep it simple. Don't overthink it. I gave an extra hard example here so that anything you do would seem easier than this. These were actually some that I drew in another video that I never posted. So remember, you got to get on the bicycle, okay? And you're going to fall off and you're going to be sad. But in the end, you're going to ultimately be nice and happy, because you are going to get better at riding that bicycle. And the bicycle is going to be able to take you all sorts of places, just like your ability to sketch is going to be able to take you all sorts of places. So good luck. Ask if you need help. And that is all for now, folks.